All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Health Tips for Life. My apologies for this delay. There was some technical issues that I had to work out, so my sincere apologies for this. So hope you all doing well, and we are waiting for Dr. Stewart to connect because he's in a different location, and there are sometimes technical issues and okay, face. Okay, yeah. Okay, we're trying to work out some differences here. StreamYard. Yeah, I don't know why Dr. Stewart is not showing up. He is on his end, but he's not showing up on mine here. Can you go, Dr. Stewart, can you go to the setting there on the right? No, right over the screen. Right where it says setting. Click on that. Okay, what does it say? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the system is not allowing I mean, he's connected on his end, but yeah. So conversion standard. So it says click on mirror the camera, that icon there. Yeah, just check that in. See what it shows. Oh, there's your background and camera is on. Yeah, that's unusual because everything is showing up accordingly, but yeah, there. And yes, I can hear you. Just have to be louder. No, no. Yeah, hold on. All right, speak now.
Okay, how about now?
There we go. I can hear you now. So, okay, well, we can do it via phone here. So, I'm assuming that will be okay with the viewers. So, sometimes you just have to work out the differences here. So, anyway, so I'm gonna put this closer to the speaker, and if you can say something, Dr. Stewart, so I gotta make sure my viewers can hear you.
Okay, how about now?
Okay, guys, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear Dr. Stewart speaking? Uh, yeah, can you guys hear Dr. Stewart speaking on the phone? Yeah, they can hear you. So, okay, let me put this in here. Yeah. Okay. So let's see here if it will show up again. I mean, the viewer's still here.
Well, let's make the show really punchy because we're going to talk about cholesterol today.
Okay. There we go. I added my picture to that, and it's not allowing the connection for that. So, right there. There we go. I hope it's working. All right, guys. Two things. First of all, I hope you can hear us, and I hope you can see me at least here. Is it working, guys? Give me a thumbs up, please. Yes, okay, it's working. So let's move on with our topic, Dr. Stewart. Thank you, girls. Appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. And you all know how technology is, and sometimes I can't see either of you on the screen. That's yeah, because mine is frozen for some odd reason, and I find this very, very unusual because I just used it this earlier, and now it's not allowing me to share my screen here. That is unusual. That is unusual. So,
Dr. O, do you think we should push on?
yeah, let's move on with this. No picture, only the sound for now, and hopefully it'll come out. So what we're gonna be talking about today, guys, it's about the cholesterol, the myth of I was one of those who used to believe, oh my gosh, cholesterol is high, it's so bad. And the first thing that the doctor, whomever that is, an MD, will tell you, well, we can lower that by putting you on statin. And I'm sharing with you my own story here. And Dr. Stewart's gonna come and share all this. When I told the doctor that I used to see, is like, no, I don't do statin, man. What are you talking about? Why? Because I did the research about what's in statin, basically poison, rat poison. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna take that. It took me a few years to learn about the importance.
And how dangerous is it? Well, we're going to find out just how dangerous it really and truly is.
Indeed. So I had to learn what statin is, what's in it, and why is that. But also had to learn the importance of cholesterol. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Dr. Stewart has a background in chemistry, psychology, and he dealt with these issues before. So what is cholesterol in general term, Dr. Stewart?
Cholesterol is actually a fatty, waxy-like substance. HDL and LDL, which we're going to explain in some detail.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, what we have is 25 million Americans are taking these cholesterol-lowering drugs. Cholesterol is actually remarkably useful to our body and supports good health. Statin medications dramatically increase the risk of cancer. 900 studies starting in 1993 to current day tell us that these cholesterol-lowering medications are dangerous to our health and well-being. Wow. And at the same time, listen to this. The American Heart Association and the College of Cardiology now urge young men and women who have no medical problem to take these prescription medications to prevent cardiac events in the future. This borders on, it's not comical, it's not tragic, it is beyond both of those. With 900 studies supporting not using it, we still have these institutions that are funded by, guess who, telling people to take this stuff. And they've convinced 25 million people. And we wonder why there's skyrocketing cancer rates and other things we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
This is really bad. Cholesterol fuels the brain. If you're going to prevent some brain vascular functions from malfunctioning, you cannot take these medications because you need cholesterol to make it work.
Okay.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Also, how's it like your entire hormone system to collapse, especially all the sex hormones?
Okay.
Well, they're built on, guess what, David?
What?
Cholesterol.
Oh my God. Interesting. So now there is one question many will wonder about. Is there such thing as good cholesterol, bad cholesterol?
You ready for the answer?
Yeah.
The answer is no. You need both of them.
Wow.
Even though cholesterol is put to the public as public enemy number one, and it kills millions of people every year, and too much cholesterol in your blood walls makes the arteries clog up with plaque. And this leads to heart attack, disease, stroke. This is not true. And when I keep saying this, 900 well-researched medical studies show that this is not the case. Clearly, it is not the case. But the press on these cholesterol-lowering drugs, and I mean, everyone you talk to knows what LDL is, low-density lipid. It's terrible for you. Yeah, well, try going without it and not have any hormones.
Wow.
Or have your cell walls collapse. Every cell in your body is something called a phospholipid. That means the cell walls are fat.
Mm.
And if you don't have cell walls, you don't have a life. You're not alive. So you see cell wall collapse, and it's a real quick degradation.
So
there is no good cholesterol. There's no bad cholesterol. And they say, well, exercise a whole lot and stop eating this, that, and something else. And your good cholesterol will go higher and your bad cholesterol will go lower. There's no evidence of that I've found.
No.
And we found zero evidence for that.
Yeah. Well, I remember back then, my doctor said, well, Mr. O, you can be above 200. And I said, what's that? He said, because it's too high. It's considered high. So anything above 200 is considered high. And yet, the research that I looked into and with the conversation that I had with you suggested that someone my age, you can be up to 260 actually.
You can actually be higher than that, and it has no consequence. There's a, it's in its own way. This is really a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
That these people are actually these people who sell it. But when
No, you're cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. So let's look at some of the consequences of lowering low-density lipids.
Okay.
How about anemia? How about low blood iron? Think that's good for you? Probably not.
Wow.
How would you like to be tired all the time with chronic fatigue? Well, here you go. How would you like to acidify all the cells in your body beyond where they're supposed to be? That's actually poisoning them. How'd you like your liver to give out? You think you need that to filter all your blood? Oh, probably. This also seems to contribute to Parkinson's disease, which is a major epidemic going right now. What about Alzheimer's? Where some plaque in your brain takes over. It's actually called diabetes of the brain. And it's actually a sugar, short-chain carbohydrate globbing of things that actually clog the neurons in the brain and kill that part of it. They die of starvation. How about diabetes? Think that'd be fun to have? And here's the worst of all. Cancer.
Wow.
Straight line Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Straight line correlation between these low fat density eliminators scrubbing your body and cancer. By the way, I first read the study in Time magazine in 1993, where physicians were shocked that they could get lower than 100. This is the goal. This is the goal we really want. And the incidence of cancer skyrocketed in the experimental group. And I've talked to doctors as recently as last year and said, we really want a low-fat diet. We want that cholesterol down there. We want it under 160. I'm going, can you read? Have you bothered to keep up with these things? I don't say that to them because it wouldn't do any good.
Yeah.
And then they wouldn't talk to me anymore. So I have to let it go.
Yeah.
But you take a look at things like Zocor or Lipitor or any of these Provocol. These things are designed and they are very effective at lowering low-density lipids. The unfortunate part is that's what leads to these really bad results.
You mean,
it's terrible.
When you say bad results, are you referring to the high number of cholesterol?
It lowers the low density lipids, and when they start getting lower, all these other diseases come on.
Oh, okay.
Like you get the LDL really low.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next stop is cancer.
Wow.
And the statistics could not be more clear. And the shocking thing is, we said it earlier, 25 million Americans are on these drugs.
Yeah. No, that's problematic. So if we are to think about the food that some people might be thinking, and this is based on a question from Poyan To. The question is, what kind of I know you can't see the screen, Dr. Stewart, but I'm gonna put it up here. What kind of food should one avoid to decrease the high cholesterol in your body?
Well, for one thing, we don't necessarily want to decrease the high cholesterol. What we want to do is take care of your arteries. Let me explain how that works. You have sugar, you have short chain carbohydrates, you eat bread and rolls and cake and have sodas, and you put three lumps of sugar in your coffee. It just goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Now your glucose level in your blood goes way high, and you're going to get a cortisol reaction. Now, cortisol is going to rush in, and it's supposed to come in small amounts. But because the sugar is so high, and sugar is caustic to your arteries, the cortisol comes and starts grabbing up the sugar and taking it away. But the sugar has irritated your linings of your arteries, and its high levels of cortisol burns them.
Mm.
So you're designed to have small amounts, not these huge amounts that a sugar high gets you. So now your body has another reaction, which is to send patches to these burned arteries, burned portions of your artery.
Yeah.
Well, it is actually cholesterol. But it's used as a tire patch. And so the end result of that is that you start getting plaquing in these areas that have been damaged. Now it gets murderously hard because once plaquing occurs, more plaquing appears on top of the old plaquing. And then, as I understand it, you get a calcium shell over it as it continues to plaque until the arteries go closed. Then we see heart attacks because the heart isn't getting enough blood.
Wow.
Or we see things happen in the brain, or we see necrosis, that's cell death, in parts of your body where the blood flow has been hindered by high sugar. Oh, let's add another culprit to that. Let's have hydrogenated oils, the worst being canola oil, which we talk about every single time. Your body is not designed to take in these really foreign oils. So it's all these vegetable oils, corn oil, peanut oil. Well, there's some things to say about peanut oil, but canola and all these vegetable oils, your body, your liver especially, has no way to deal with them, and they're highly irritating. Now, are they going to get into your blood system? Oh, count on it.
Wow.
What are they going to do there? Well, they're going to clog your liver, which is a bad thing. You need that filter to get all the junk out of your liver, out of your blood.
Yeah. But also because for us here, at least for our diet, is mainly processed food. And people have no idea what are they consuming. There are those who argue that what the cost associated with eating well. There is some truth to it. Good food costs money. But at the same time, what is your health worth? What is the cost of your health? Because if you lose your health, it's over. So you start to think, where do I prioritize?
Well, this is actually going to take some organization and some really paying attention.
Yeah.
I would, for people who really care about it, I'd have them start putting a menu together every week and really price it out. And you say, well, can I get this box or this or that or something else? Or can I get broccoli, fresh broccoli? And you say, well, hold it. This turns out to be cheaper to eat well. You're going, this is shocking.
Yeah.
And instead of having a 12-ounce steak, which your body can't manage anyway because of potash and so on, but you're invited to do 4 ounces of steak, but get a better one that's probably grass-fed and organic. Because we know that all these pesticides irritate your arteries. They irritate your liver. You're not designed to take care of all these bad chemicals. Like MSG. Oh, boy, is that a bad one.
Yeah.
Or all the GMOs or all the farmed fish. These are bad players. because of all the harsh chemicals and waste products that are in those things. So here's where you go. You go to the food pyramid, and whether they're organic or not, you certainly want to load up on vegetables. That's the number one thing you eat. And people say, what? You mean I should have 2 or 3 servings of vegetables every meal? Yeah, salad. Couple and 2 servings of vegetables. No servings of potatoes or macaroni, and fish or meat. Hopefully sauteed in coconut oil or butter. And there's ample salmon around before we eat it all up.
Yeah.
Which I think we got enough for a while anyway.
Yeah. And you said coconut oil, not canola oil. Is that correct?
You are absolutely correct.
Okay.
Stay away from canola oil, and they sneak it in everything because it's so cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like you have to read the label of every darn thing you buy to see what's in it.
Well, people do not read. They just buy whatever. I mean, they don't spend time to educate themselves to understand. There are those who said, again, it all boils down to cost. But you still can manage to eat well if you educate yourself about what you are consuming outside. I mean, you look at, for us, well, I can't speak for other cultures because I have a friend. I haven't seen him for a while. He's originally from Vietnam. He's been in the US forever. And it was anytime I go to Charlie's home to have a meal with him and his family, there is nothing from outside. Everything is cooked inside the house.
Yes.
The veggies, fresh from the garden, and no issues whatsoever. Even the oil he uses, there was no canola oil into this. So, and I kind of learned from him over the years. Charlie and I, we go back to the 90s. That's how far back we go. And I learned that, you still can manage. I know certain cultures have, for example, you take a rice in Asia. Rice is a major part of the diet. That's normal. Yeah. It's like for the Arab world, bread is the most important. In Afghanistan, they have to have a bread with everything. But you still can manage if you learn about what's into those items as far as the ingredients that contains and so forth. For us here in the US, it's mainly processed food. This is why obesity in America, it's getting bad. It's getting worse.
I think I mentioned some time ago to you, David,
yeah,
that I interviewed a food buying representative from a major restaurant chain, national chain. And the person had just quit their job. And I said, well, tell me, what's the story here? And I get in conversations with people, they tell me everything. They said, well, here's what we did. We would find, for chicken, for example, we would find the cheapest chicken we could possibly find on the market. This is not a cheap restaurant either. And they said, and the chicken was always bitter because whatever they did to it, the meat was bitter and it didn't taste very good. So our master chefs figured this out. They put a taste bud deadener for bitterness into their meat. They said people loved it after that. They could no longer, the chicken was still bitter, but they couldn't taste it. And it went on and on. All the things that this person told me that they did to trick people into thinking they were getting good food because they couldn't taste how bad it was. All they could taste is the salt and the sweet. This is a great burger. This is a great chicken sim, whatever it was. And I just went away feeling half sick. Wow. This is what they're feeding us.
Yeah.
And getting away with it.
Well, people are not educating themselves about it. So I got a question here from Poyan. So it's a statement, but I think it's a question at the same time. Isn't a cancer can be eliminated by eliminating sugar in your diet because cancer cells grow on sugar? So the question is, is keto or keto diet, that is, a good diet to be on to eliminate problems like diabetes and cancer?
Yes, with one inclusion. It really appears that the number one instigator for cancer is these low-quality vegetable oils, followed by sugar, short-chain carbohydrates, environmental toxins, pesticides, and so on. But it's actually these things like canola oil are at the top of the list, and sugar and short-chain carbohydrates are second. They're both so important to eliminate from your diet. I mean, it's so straightforward.
Wow. Wow.
And you start talking about the cost of these things. For one thing, if you're living life in your terms,
Yeah.
what does it mean to be more energetic? What does it mean to have blood circulating well? What does it mean to have your hormone system operating as it should and giving you the energy and the strength and the vitality to go live your life and perhaps even make more money, be more successful? I think that's the way to calculate these things. And you might find out that there's hardly any difference in real price. If you're buying boxed foods, they're not cheap. If you go buy the straight chicken or the beef, yeah, it's a little bit more pricey, but it's not onerous if you're eating it. Here's the rule. If you weigh 150 pounds or to 200 pounds, the maximum amount of meat protein you should be eating a day is about 12 ounces. Not 12 ounces per meal, 12 ounces in total for the entire day, which makes up eggs, chicken, beef, fish, and so on. It's about the size of the palm of your hand times 3. Not half a pound. Well, let's go get a burger for a half-pound burger. Cut me a break.
Yeah.
Your body can't digest that much food. And because of the way they prepared, you're going to wear it for the rest of your life, and it's going to be called fat.
Yeah. Well, the way they inject the meat here in the farms, I mean, it's not a secret. People do not know. People do not know. They just consume whatever instead of thinking about what am I going to be eating. I have pictures for you guys to see. This is a fat. This is a fat, right? I'm going to open it for you to see. This is a type of fat that I use when I make my own eggs. And this fat is nothing but the one from when I make steak, when I make bacon, everything grass fed. I save the fat from all that. I don't throw it away and let it just sit. And I just get a spoon and use it with my eggs. I use the 100% unsalted butter. This is from the farm, not from the store. 100%. Yes, it's a little pricey. This little thing is about $35. But hey, when I eat this, I get no issues. I don't feel any. I mean, feel very good. I also have my oils here. Olive oil, pure olive oil in a glass bottle. That's all I use. And those are high concentrated in fat, but it's the good fat. And this is what I start to realize after having a conversation with Dr. Stewart offline. Usually he and I once in a while we chat, and whenever he's available. And I'll ask him those kind of questions. And one thing I remember you, Doc, told me that once you eat fat, you feel very energized.
Your cells prefer to use fat as fuel as opposed to short-chain carbohydrates.
Wow.
Your energy is sustained longer. Your cells, which are made of fat anyway, the cell walls are healthier. The mitochondria, which is the driving energy inside your cell, thrives on fat. Yeah, but it has to be the right kind of fat. And that's why I like raw, not heated olive oil. Your body, your skin, your body thrive on olive oil unless you cook it.
Yeah.
If you heat it up, it's now in the realm of canola oil. It's been degraded to the point that you really can hardly use it. It's really tragic.
Yeah.
You have to be careful to get something that is truly olive oil.
Yeah.
Manufacturers sneak in
That's true.
other oil because they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Olive oil is not cheap.
Yeah. I was aware of a case where an investigation was conducted because the oil that was this said original oil coming out of Italy was not real olive oil. It was an investigation that was a few years ago. So, and speaking of olive oil, guys, just to share this with you, I do 1 spoon every night before bedtime, every night, and 1 in the morning. I do it with garlic and ginger and honey mixed. I let them sit in a bottle. I've had it here for almost now 3 weeks. And every morning I'll take small tablespoon or teaspoon rather for that. But at night, before I go to bed, I'll do 1 tablespoon of pure olive oil. I'll sleep good.
That is a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I sleep good.
It's going to regulate your blood sugar through the night and going to support high quality sleep.
Yeah.
Restorative sleep. And of course, that's what we want. That 8.5 to 9 hours of restorative sleep. And that pure olive oil right before bed is going to be a big help.
Yeah. Now, is it, as I'm listening, I'm also taking questions from Zeus. It's because Dr. Stewart couldn't connect with me directly here. I don't know why. And we figured rather than not wasting time, we're going to go with just my picture here. And at least you guys can hear him. That's the reason why you are not seeing Dr. Stewart's face on the camera today. So, one from Ponyan 2. He said, I only use avocado, olive, and coconut oil. Canola oil causes inflammation in your gut. Is that true, Doc?
Which oil?
Canola oil. Does he use?
Canola oil is going to, for one thing, you can't digest it.
Oh.
And so it's going to be inflammation through your entire digestive system.
Yeah.
It's going to get into your blood system and irritate you everywhere. And your liver can't clear it, which is, now we're going to get a clogged liver, which means you're going to end up having a clogged gallbladder. So all these things that your liver goes through 3 phases, and in phase the canola oil can't get through the first phase to start breaking it down.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's clogging the fantastic filtration system that pulls all the debris out of your blood. What does that mean? That means you're now poisoned.
Wow.
By the debris in your own blood.
Wow.
So and they sneak it into so many things. It borders on unreal that we could know this much about canola oil, and even the natural food markets, their stuff has canola oil in it.
Well, especially in our society here, people are just like oblivious to what's going on. I mean, we all know it's not a secret, guys. We all know what Big Pharma is doing. We all know the reason why. Because they wanted to have a society that is sick. The more the sick people are, the more medication is being sold. It's all about profit, dollar amount, But at the same time, you don't just blame the pharmaceutical or the government, whatever. You blame the people also because people need to take responsibility for their own health. I have a choice, and I'm just giving you an example here, guys. I have a choice. I don't drink alcohol, but I have a choice. Do I drink alcohol, okay, or do I go and buy a grass-fed steak, whatever that is, with the money that I'm going to buy alcohol with? I choose the latter. And I decide to give up alcohol altogether because it's not a priority to me, because I think about the consequences. If I lose my health, what do I have left? Nothing. And that's why
That's exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about it this way, doctor, for years and years and years. I used to think when I was in my early 20s, you are invincible at that age. Oh, nothing's going to get you. And I used to think, what will happen to me when I get closer to older age? I don't want to depend on anybody, but the only way I can be smart about it is to take good care of my health, and starts with what I'm consuming. And that's where my priorities came. No alcohol, no cigarettes. The money that I use for that, I use it to buy a good food. I get an expensive $25 bottle of olive oil, because to me, that's a priority. So And I look at it also culturally speaking. When you look at, for example, the Asian cultures, I read somewhere they will start to be a concern in China. You know why?
Why?
It's because they start to see too many KFCs, too many fast food, American fast food.
Yeah.
And the kind of society in China are like, whoa, 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 where are we going with this? Because they start to notice the changes in the social fabric. I mean, still, the traditional society in China still eat the way it used to be, but it changed slightly, and they start to wonder. And all it is because of fast food. Here in the US, people don't even think. Look at no further than the lunches in schools. When my little one was in school, and I never had him eat over there. You take lunch with you from home, make something. So because they are not going to provide a good quality food, I was like, no, that becomes on me now. So that's the way I see it. And Zeus, you are right. You wrote, food is a medicine, indeed. What do you think, Doc?
You know, there's that thing, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. That's Greek philosophy from 2,000, 3,000 years ago.
Wow. Wow, wow,
In
wow.
the late 90s and early 2000s, Japan had things like McDonald's and KFC come in and cater the school lunches. And for the first time in Japanese history, they started getting fat children. And they looked at this and said, what on earth is happening? And they fired all the fast food chains and went back to traditional Japanese food. And the kids got skinny again, or got appropriate and they didn't look strong. But that just shows you the American diet is what's doing it. And if we've got 60% of the American population in the obese range, that's 20% higher than they should be. That's telling you the food is the problem here.
Yeah.
And it certainly is the problem with cholesterol. Well, that's not really the cholesterol, but the plaquing in the arteries. It's the food, and certainly the lack of exercise.
Yeah.
But if you're going to walk everywhere, of course, you're not going to get much exercise.
It will be different. So here, I have a statement here, Doc, from Army with Harmony. He said, and I'm going to put it on the screen for you guys to see. I know Dr. Stewart can't see this one here, but if I understand Dr. Stewart, it is the calcium left over from the healing process of the cortisone damage. Is that correct?
You've got a lot of free-floating calcium ions in your blood already. So you don't need it. It doesn't need to be excess from anything. You got it. Because you need to be replacing bone and tissue. And so it isn't something left over from some other process. It's just already naturally occurring. And you sure don't want it to be. You don't want it to be protecting the cholesterol buildup or the plaquing. I don't even want to call it cholesterol. You want to call it the Band-Aid to cover the irritation that keeps growing and growing and growing. It grows on itself. And then it gets this calcium coating on it, and boy, it's hard to get rid of. Unless you know what nanokinase is. That's a particular enzyme that dissolves calcium. And you take some of that under some supervision, and you can pretty well knock out the calcium plaquing in your arteries.
Wow. Yeah. And you don't hear doctors talking about the using enzymes as a way instead of medication. I never heard of a doctor talking about that.
They run into a problem. And because I've talked to doctors who actually knew this, and here's what several of them told me, not just one. In medicine, there's something called the gold standard. Well, what's that? Well, it's what the pharmaceuticals tell us is the best standard treatment for a particular issue that someone has. And they say, we know it doesn't work. We know it's not good. However, if we prescribe anything else, we're now liable for malpractice for not using the gold standard. They're going, what a dilemma to be in. If you do the right thing, and let's say you do the right thing and somebody doesn't get well, or they decide to sue you, or they go to their medical board or something. The next thing you know, you either have a lawsuit or you're pulled before your medical board saying, how come you didn't use the gold standard? And there's no defense that says, well, I wanted to save my patient's life. I wanted to improve their health.
Yeah.
I had one colleague who was doing a particular treatment, and so the medical board found out about it and called him to testify to defend himself for doing this terrible treatment. And he had this large box of research studies. And he went before the board and said, look, these are all research articles by reputable doctors and medical schools that saying this treatment is the treatment of choice. And this arrogant person on the medical board said, well, you can prove anything with numbers. And my colleague said, what else am I supposed to use? I use the best research I can find. They fined him. They made him pay $5,000 for doing this treatment that was not controversial even the slightest.
Yeah. Well, the medical boards are. We all know. I mean, I'm not an MD, but I can only imagine what would be the objective of a medical board to just prevent people from having another alternative to medications. And basically, because they are in the pockets of the pharmaceutical industry, it's no secret. And I mean, heck, I'll challenge them on that, because yeah. And I used, when I'm back then, without naming the names of the doctor that I used to have, he retired by now anyway. And that was the first thing I asked him when I met him for the first time. I said, Doc, I respect your knowledge. I respect the years you spent into this and all that. And I listen to your advice and so forth. But there is one thing I will not allow. Do not, please, push medication on me. I'll ask you if I need it. I'll ask your opinion, because you are more knowledgeable than me in this. And he respected that. Because one day I got sick and I asked him, do I need medication for this? He said, no. Go get some rest, sleep, you'll be fine. And that's exactly what happened. All I needed was to sleep more. Like we always say, get some rest. Well, I got a rest for a whole 24 hours, and it worked out for me. So that's the way I see it. So
your immune system had a chance to really take over.
Exactly.
And whatever it was.
Exactly. Yeah. And I respected him after that, because he never pushed things on me. But I also start to do my own research. When I will find out something, and I'm going to go dig into the information for it. And that's how I came to the conclusion that not all medication is. I can understand the pharmaceutical pushing. I can understand why we have a sick society here. You see in kids now, 12-year-olds are far obese than I can even imagine.
It's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, and people in their 30s, they are now dealing with chronic diseases in their 30s. That makes you wonder, where society, is it all this by design? Yeah, you all guys can figure it out, right? So there's a question from Jongelina Jones. She has a question here. The question is, does coffee raise cholesterol?
Yes.
Okay. How bad?
Straightforward. The research is perfectly clear. It raises cholesterol.
Like even for 1 cup a day?
So what if it raises cholesterol? The issue is,
are
you adding sugar to it? What are you doing to the coffee that's going to put a short chain carbohydrate like sugar into it, which is now going to irritate your system? You do that all day, every day, with all the sugar and all the oils and so on, and now you've got plaquing, and now you have a growing problem. So it's not the problem of raising cholesterol; it's the problem of irritating your system.
Wow.
And the jury's really out on coffee. Because it has a bunch of powerful antioxidants in it, free radical quenchers, and it has caffeine in it, which is not your friend. It interferes with your rest cycles and sleep cycles.
Yeah.
It makes you think you're energetic when you're really tired.
Yeah.
So coffee's not the problem with cholesterol.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, the problem with cholesterol is not cholesterol.
Well, I'll admit it.
These other substances.
I'll admit it, Doc. I do have 1 cup of coffee a day, but now I have viewers on my other channel. They are buying me coffee, believe it or not. That's part of supporting the channel. But in reality, I would love none than just to have a cup of coffee with them. Truly, in real life, if that's possible. I know some of them in far lands, but I do 1 cup of coffee a day. I'll admit it, because that's how I start my day. But I'm also doing other stuff to, counterbalance this and that. Zeus, you're right. You wrote, in the old days, doctors thought they were God. Now with the internet, we can wise up. I couldn't agree more. So I got a question here for you, Doc, before I let you go. On average, how long will a statin extend someone's life?
They shorten your life.
They shorten your life, not extend
They
it.
dramatically shorten your life with degenerative diseases, and they certainly hurt the quality of your life.
Yeah. So,
and there's not a question about it. The research is so clear that they shorten your life. And when they say, hey, these things are good for you, that is the lie. It's a bold-faced lie. And a lot of people know it, but they prescribe it anyway.
Yeah. So,
what a scandal.
Well, I was floored when my doctor mentioned it to me recently. And I was like, you're out of your mind, man. Why? What the Lord? I said, no, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't take statin. And I will never take statin. I'll die before I start taking that poison. That's to me. And if, I'm not bluffing, because that's my life after all. And I would not.
Yeah.
I made a decision on it. So,
a couple of months ago, I went to my regular doctor because I wanted a complete blood workup. I wanted to see where all my blood levels of all these things in my blood were.
Yeah.
And my blood pressure was 140 over 72.
Uh-huh.
Now, a man my age is average, healthy average is 169 over 80, approximately. And my doctor said, well, I think we should put you on a blood pressure medication.
Oh.
And I said, well, hold it. I'm way below the optimal for my age. And he just looked at me like, really? I'm going, I can read. I can read the numbers.
He did.
Get somebody who the arteries are not as flexible as they used to be. The capillaries don't work quite as well as they used to when I was a young man. I need higher blood pressure to push the blood through my system. And so does everybody else my age.
Yeah.
And so you say, well, let's really lower it. Oh, great.
Yeah, they thought that people do not know. If you do especially in your case, that's your background. You understand this stuff in and out. I got another question here, Doc, quickly here. Is there, let me put it on the screen for everybody to see. Is there anything that helps with high blood pressure?
There's a couple things to do.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is check your diet. Mm-hmm. See what you're doing that's really irritating you. High blood pressure has to do with your heart's need to push harder to get blood through your veins and arteries and capillaries. So if those things are clogging up because of the bad oils, because of the short chain carbohydrates like sugar and so on, now the passages are certainly smaller and more rigid. So the diet is the first place to go, followed by quality sleep. If you're sleeping 6 hours a night, you're not sleeping long enough, nor restoratively enough. And then take some time every day to focus on relaxing. Don't think about the issues of the day. Don't think about all the things you have to do. Don't think about who you're arguing with. Just sit and relax. Maybe nice music. Your blood pressure will come down in a couple of minutes if you just do that alone. But those three things are the things that really control blood pressure. Starts with diet, diet, diet.
Interesting. What's the last word, Doc? Last word about all this cholesterol myth, about how bad cholesterol is for your health and so forth. Final word. Do you have the final word?
Yes, the conclusion is correct your diet. Stop worrying about cholesterol.
Interesting.
And chances are, well, here's the thing. Do your own research online about the effect of these cholesterol-lowering drugs and make up your own decision based on the quality information. We always want you to be thinking for yourself.
Indeed. Indeed.
Who owns your life? It's you.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Doc. I do know we are not going to be meeting next week because I won't be here, and the time zone I'm going to be, it's not going to work. So I made the decision not to have the session next week. I have to wait till I get back, and we'll link up again with Dr. Stewart for another topic. Thank you so much, Dr. Stewart. We appreciate you. Bye-bye. Yeah. And sorry, guys, the communication didn't work out very, very well this time around. So sometimes these things happen, and Dr. Stewart is far out. So yes, as I mentioned, I'm gonna be out for a week, 2 weeks or so. That's why I decided not to do it because the time zone. It will be about 3 o'clock in the morning or so. It's just not gonna work. And I like to be prepared for that mentally, physically, emotionally, and everything. So because it's my time with you, so I gotta give you the proper attention, the proper respect, and so forth. So I thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you for everything, because I'm here also to learn from you, by the way. It goes both ways. Never ever want you guys to think it's going only one way. No, it goes both ways. I learn things that I do not know. I make mistakes. That's you guys correct me. I'm gonna give credit to Zeus for this. He's helping me out with giving me tips here and there. I greatly appreciate that. You won't believe how much he means to me. Just, I don't know you. You don't know me. We just came to know each other through this medium here. And here is all of a sudden you find yourself. This is what I'm talking about, the human connectivity. That's exactly what I'm trying to put in these channels here. The reason why I decided to create this channel is because I'm seeing what's going on here. And I'm like, well, I can't be sitting on that knowledge if I can't share it with others. I have resources. My nutritionist is one of the top. I'm so grateful to her for helping me out with all this. My good health, I credit it to her because puts me on some sort of strategies as far as what to eat, not to eat. And I changed things over the last decade or so. And I'm seeing the results, and I'm very grateful. But I don't want just that for me by myself. I pass on that knowledge to you all, guys. That is the reason why I'm doing so. So I thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time. As always, remember, your health is your best asset. Till next time. Bye-bye.